Lynette with Charm Grammy Crochet. How are you today? Today is Tuesday, so you'll probably see this video on Wednesday or Thursday. Wednesday, the 17th, the live for Boggy Creek Boggy unboxing, we're going to try that again. That's going to be on my channel, providing everybody is good to go, and my internet works. For streaming. Sometimes we have issues with that. So that's going to be happening. So I think I'll put this video up on Thursday. But I want to make it today because I got things to show you. Things that I'm starting. Things that I finished. And things that are going away. So, and that's what my channel is about. All about my yarn shenanigans. And sometimes travel. So when my husband and I live in an RV for the last... since February, and we've been home in Ohio for the summer to be with family, and now we're going to take off again in October, mid-October, and we won't be back here for a while, probably at least 10 months. So we're trying to get ready for that transition into the smaller camper and what we're taking and what we're leaving. And so I'm trying to get some things done as far as crochet goes, because when we packed the small camper, when I packed the small camper with crochet projects to last me until we were coming back here for the summer, so a couple months worth of crochet projects, I packed a lot of projects, and the whole underneath side of the bed is filled with yarn. Well, since then, I haven't touched those projects because I had projects that those were going to be future projects. Like I made myself project kits. I don't even remember what all is in there, but I know I wanted to make a squiggly wiggly of wands, and that's in there. There was a crochet pattern that Donna made a couple of years ago that I was trying to make in pinks, and that crochet project is in there. And my I don't know, whatever else, I don't remember. It's been in there all this time and I haven't looked at it because getting under the bed is not easy. I've moved things around under there, but I haven't pulled any of those projects out. I don't think. I don't think I took any of them out. Well, now since I've been here, I have accumulated some additional yarns, and there was yarns that I had in the back of the car that the yarns that I accumulated, and then I've accumulated more yarns. So I am not working as fast as I can buy, and I'm really not trying to buy. So all that being said, one of the things I wanted to do, I've been working, Laura from Mad Memes Crochet and Farming, my dear friend, did this Double Dog Dare Challenge to do these 5th year of dishcloths. And I know she has done, and I had 6 to go. I did a couple of them, and I had most of the fall ones to do. And now I have finished the fall ones, so my cotton yarn can get put away. So I finished the ones that I'm going to do. Let's go with that. She was doing by the season. We were crocheting a season ahead. So in the summer we're crocheting fall. It's almost fall. But we started in the fall with winter, and we worked our way around. Now I know I showed you the school bus. I know I showed you this one. Isn't it cute? It did turn out really, really cute. I think. I like that one. That's one of my favorites. And I showed you the school bus. And then I think I had 3 or 4 to go. I think 4. The next one after the school bus in the book is the apple. I made an apple. And you hang on it's got a hanger, so that's cute. The school bus and the apple are going to my daughter tomorrow. She she's an educator. She was a teacher for years, and now she's an administrator. But still, school bus, apple. I mean, it's not like she's going to take them to school. But I thought those would be cute for her. So I'm going to give those to her. Then next came the ribbon. Because October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that's in the fall. And so I made this. That's my ribbon. Mostly all of these are made with kitchen cotton, like Premier Home Cotton or Peaches and Cream or Sugars and Cream. This one is Sugar and Cream stripy, and it is so soft. Like this regular hard, firm cotton. That's stripy. I don't know why, but it was really soft. And this is a different yarn as well, and I'm sorry, I don't know it started with I don't remember. But it's a very soft cotton too. It was an old yarn I got at a swap, D-Stash craft thing last year. Really soft yarn too, like, reminds you of cotton, Sugar Will cotton from Hobby Lobby. Like, that's got that really nice soft texture. That's what this yarn is like too. So I'm more excited about that. So this one I will be keeping. I think this one I'm going to give to my granddaughters tomorrow for Halloween. The next in the book was this Illusions that you're supposed to use a lace weight. I don't have any, so I vetoed that right away and said no. And then the last one, and then we go to winter, which I made every one of those ones, I think, is this really cute fancy heart. I couldn't figure it out. I could not figure it out. I played with it for a little while. I couldn't make it. I don't know. My stitches weren't in the right place. I had flaps. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with this thing. I can't understand the special cluster stitch they want. I didn't know what the hell. And I got mad at it. I threw it away, and now I'm done. I'm done. I'm like, you're in timeout. No, you're just done. So the book, and I had all of that yarn, all of my cotton, do as you're told, was in this very nice, lovely bag. And it's big and sturdy and canvas, and I love the bag. So I removed all the cotton from the bag. My daily projects were living in this ice bag. So I'm keeping, the book is going into storage. This I'm keeping for a project bag. The big bag that held all the cotton, project bag, that bag is now holding the next project that I'll show you in a minute. And all the cotton went into this Hobby Lobby bag. I think it's a Hobby Lobby bag, or maybe not. Yeah. Along with, I brought home this from my storage unit, this homespun cotton, homespun thick and quick, because I'm trying to make a sweater for my granddaughter. In that homespun that I got at the yard sale. And I thought, oh, I'll bring this. I have several skeins of that in that color. And I thought, I will use that yarn to fill in if I need more. Except the yarn that I got at the yard sale is, like, I thought I would just use like a skein of that and then a skein of this in it, because that has pink in it. And the color that the color that I got at the yard sale is, it's this, but this is a 5 bulky and that's a 6 bulky, and it's way bumpier. They won't work together well, I don't think. I mean, somebody that, like, you could, I'm sure, intermingle, because I've seen people do that, intermingle. Like on a blanket, you get that roving that's real thick, and so I probably could intermix the two yarns, the two thicknesses, and it would probably look really cool. I'm afraid to do it because I have a problem with my stuff, you know, and the growth and the width. When I start a project, once it gets going, it stays the same. But, you know, I do a first few rounds. And so I thought I'm going to probably have an issue. I'm afraid I'm going to have an issue. So I put the cotton yarn back in this bag with this Thick and Quick, and that's going back to the yarn storage unit today. But I did start the sweater that I'm making for Chloe, and I'm going to do it in just double crochet because this yarn is bulky and stitch definition is not a thing. You know, bulkier the yarn, just go with a simple stitch because it's the yarn that's going to do it. And with this being, you know, this bumpiness of this yarn, I think it's going to give it a really good look. But I started, and it's going to be a front panel, a back panel, and then I'm going to add the sleeves. I have three skeins of it in this color called, I forgot to tell you. I'll find it. It's like cocoa or something. So it's 98% acrylic, 2% polyester. It's a number 5 bulky pearls. This color is called pearls. So it's just very muted, light tan to cream, cream to light tan, whatever. I have 3 of these. There are 185 yards, which is 169 meters, in this skein. So I'm hoping one panel for the front or less, and one panel for, or, you know, one skein per panel or less, and then the rest can be sleeves, and the sleeves will go as long as I can go. Oh, and then I was thinking I could actually like add some of this into the sleeves to add some color to it. This one came without a label, but it's got all these really pretty colors, and I thought if we just maybe did a little bit of the sleeve. The sweater that I'm trying to mimic has no ribbing. So it's just really simply 2 squares and then 2 rectangles. But I will do the sleeves in the round, because that's how I like to make a sweater. And it's going to be a boat neck because that's the only way I know how to make it without a pattern. I just wanted to use up this yarn. And so I want to do this and have this done, which shouldn't take too long, I don't think. This is 3 rows. I started with a foundation chain double crochet thing. I know I don't say that right. You know me, I never say the right names of things. But, you know, where you do the chain and the double crochet all at the same time. And it was, when I finished the chain, I got to a certain number, and now it's grown again. This is my issue. So I did the chain, I chained, and then I thought, oh, that might be big enough. And I measured, and when it was 23 inches, I stopped, and it was 50 crochets. So then I added the first, so that was already a row of double crochets on there with the chain all at one time. So then I added the second row, and it was down to 22.5, and then I added another row, and now I'm at 23. I don't know. I was down to 22 a minute ago. Does yarn expand when it gets hotter out? Like, it was 22 when I measured before I made this video. So anyway, it doesn't matter. It's going to work out. I wanted it to be about 22.5 inches anyway. So if we're somewhere between 22 and 23 per panel, I'm going to be real happy with that, I think. And what I'm going to do is I have 3 rows on here. And then I'm going to take another skein and I'm going to do 3 rows on here. And I'm going to just alternate. If I do, 2 rows on this, then I'm going to do 2 rows on that. to keep my tension in the same area, because I always seem to have a problem with that, and that's why my things, I think that's why my things grow and shrink and grow. I mean, granted, if I'm making a blanket or something, it ends up all being the same width, but it never starts out the same width that I start out with. No, I should say it never ends up at the same width that I start out with. I know that's a tension thing. I mean, what else could it be? If I'm using the same hook and the same yarn, and I start out at a 32-inch chain and I end up with a 25-inch blanket, there's a problem. I mean, I know the chain from the blanket's going to stop, but when you do that foundation chain thingy like I did, I know that tends to be stretchy, so it's easier to make it wider. In this case, it shrunk. But that's okay, as long as I don't, really go too baggy is better than not big enough, right? So anyway, I'm going to do a 50 chain out of a second skein and just go back and forth like that, so that hopefully they'll end up the same width all the way. And then it shouldn't take long to do this, and I'm going to see Chloe tomorrow, so I want to have a lot of it started on both panels so I can hold it up and make sure it's going to not be too much or too little, and see how she even likes the yarn. She hasn't even seen the yarn, so we're gonna do a test run tomorrow and see how that goes. But to do the boat neck is easy, because you just make the panels, sew up the sides to where you want the sleeves to go. So, some on this, and, sew them closed that way. Crochet them closed, which is what I always do. You can even do a single crochet, and it's going to leave like a chain that can be on the outside or the inside, whichever way they like it. If you don't like it on the outside, then you just flip it over, and then it's on the inside. If you don't like it on the inside, you flip it over, and it's on the outside. As long as you make it consistent, that it's the same on the tops and on the bottoms. No big deal. If I knew how long I need to make the squares to be where the panels, I guess, to be where she wants them to be on her body, which I didn't measure, but that's all right. I can tomorrow. I could have done it just one panel and leave a space, but I'm not gonna. That's what I did with the tunic that I made for myself, but I made it, the opposite direction. But, just chain so many and then go back and make them. But I'm not doing it that way. I'm doing it this way. This is the way I'm going to do it. I'm excited to get started on the second skein of yarn and see how far that goes. At this rate, I think I should have plenty per skein to at least make one panel on each, out of each skein. And then we'll see how far they go down the arms, But I think I should have more than enough per skein. I know it's only 185 yards, but this is only 3 rows, and it measures in height 3 inches. So you're getting an inch per row. So we'll see. Hopefully I won't be playing yarn chicken. And the length of the sleeves will depend on, probably the length of the whole thing. Everything will depend on how much yarn I have. She might end up with really long sleeves, or she might end up with a cap sleeve. You just never know. But I'm going to make it work with the yarn that I have. And it'll be a nice warm sweater for her for the winter. And I really want to incorporate this because I think this is really pretty. I just love the colors. I don't know if she'll love the colors, but they're pretty subdued, but yet add a little flare. So I think if there's a couple of inches of that, maybe even do a border around the neck. I don't know. We'll talk to Chloe about it. And if it was going to be for me, that would definitely be included in there. But it's for Chloe, and she is way more subdued in her clothes purchases than I. Shoes, I mean, she will wear some bright pink shoes. Don't get me wrong. But in her everyday clothing. She likes to be, all my granddaughters are very muted colors, nothing flashy, and which has been a bummer because even as little ones, they didn't want to wear like neons and bright things, because I like working with those color yarns the best. So anyway, we're going to be off to the storage unit. We're cleaning out the shed. Roy's got a lot of stuff to put in the storage unit, and then I've got this bag of yarn to put in there, and I'm gonna really have to go through and figure out what I still have in that little camper, and what I know all the projects in there I wanted to make. One of them, as I recall, was an illusions blanket out of a crochet book we were going to do with the Zoom ladies. We're all going to do one, and we didn't. So I know there's yarn for that in there. That might end up going back to the storage unit as well. Put it away for another day, because there's projects in here that I need to take. There's a box of yarn and stuff that goes to Laura that she needs to get, that I'm taking. It's going to travel all the way to Alaska with us. That's in the storage unit. So I need to make space for everything. So that's where we're at with that stuff. What will fit, what won't fit. And I have a bag of Boggy blankets that I have to take, that I've made. I still have squares from Lynanne that I have 2 blankets worth, because I have to add some squares to it. Then I got that yarn the other day for Boggy blankets. And I have Boggy blankets in my head with yarn that Nancy gave me last year. More Boggy blankets in my head. I need to get crocheting, man. Crochet slows down in the summer. And when we're traveling, I usually crochet. Don't mind my itchy nose. I usually crochet when we drive. But when we're traveling, I like to see the sights, unless I'm on the highway. But then sometimes I have to, help navigate and find things and find places to go and all that stuff. So my travel, while we're traveling, crochet time wasn't as much as what I anticipated. Just because when we're actually on the road, physically driving, if we're on the highway, I can crochet then. But if it's a busy highway, I try to help be an extra set of eyes for Roy. You need the exits coming up, or, that kind of thing, like pay more attention. So I'm paying less attention to the crochet. And I found last year quite a bit, if we were off the highway, which is the way I love to travel, I want to see what we're traveling past. On the highway, you don't get any visual, it's, but when you're traveling through the little towns, even the fields, and I like to look at the houses, I like to look at the scenery, I like to look at the little towns, and then I'm not crocheting because I'm watching. And I'm being a watcher, not a crocheter. And I did find last year, we would get in that car, and in 10 minutes I am so tired. I'm like, oh man, I could just get in that car. It was mind you, a lot of the time it was really cold outside, and so we'd get the heated seat on and warm and toasty in the car, and I'm just and I'm like, dude, I can't stay awake. That was terrible. I felt bad because I kept dozing off on him all the time. I'm going to try to be better about that this year. But driving in the car was just making me tired. Just like a little kid couldn't keep me in the car for more than 10 minutes and I'm falling asleep. So that is where we're at with the crochet stuff as of the making of this video. I'm real excited on Chloe's sweater. I know most people don't like this yarn, but I like this yarn. I think it makes beautiful projects, and it's soft. It's just not the greatest to work with all the time, and it's hard to frog. But if you're just doing a simple stitch, I think it should be okay. I've made other cardigans out of, I made Amanda a duster cardigan out of homespun. I made myself a big, huge, warm poncho with a big, it was a rectangular poncho, and it had a big cowl neck, and I put a pocket on the front so I could keep my hands in there and keep them warm. I love that thing, and I really love it in the fall because it's warm, and I could like just keep my hands all inside or not, but it was rectangular, so there's no sleeves, but I could put my arms inside if I wanted to. But in the fall, it kept my neck warm. You know, I could bring up the collar and keep my neck warm, put my hands in the pocket and keep it, so it, but it takes up so much space. When you're working with 4-weight and bigger yarn, and you're looking at, I have, in the small camper, I have a bin that's about this tall, and it's probably 24 inches wide, and it fits in the cabinets above the bed. That's my shirts. That's all the tops I get to fit. So if you have one thing that takes up this much space, I can't do it. I can get 2 weeks worth of clothing in that thing, if I'm not taking anything really big and bulky. I do take some hoodies and I put them on top. So I opted to take regular sweatshirts for the fall, and versus crocheted sweaters, because they're a hoodie is more durable. I can wear it anywhere and not have to worry about it getting ruined, so I my big purple cardigan, I really want to take it, but that's so big and bulky too. Now the cardigan, the duster that I made out of skinny cakes, that's a 3-weight. It's a duster, so it's longer, but it's not as bulky as my 4-weight not duster cardigan. It's also not as bulky as that poncho I was talking about made out of this. Makes a big difference, So they'll be here when we get back to Ohio. They'll be sitting in the storage unit waiting for me to wear them again. Oh, and this is that pattern bed bag o' day, that shawl that I made out of the cotton bee and boo yarn that I got at the local yarn stores, and I love it. It was chilly this morning, but it's going to be hot this afternoon, like 81 or something. So I'm wearing a dress, but my shoulders were cold, and I wanted the lace to show, so I rolled it up here. So you can see all the color and the lace work, which I just love this pattern. I think it's so pretty. So that's why I wore this. Wanted it for this morning, just a little something on my shoulders. And now it's actually getting kind of warm because I haven't turned the air on yet, and it's in the 70s, high 70s now. So, but the air conditioner is loud when we're in the camper, and I understand that. So I like to film before we have to turn the air on, and it's still getting warm enough. The camper is insulated. It's a 3-season camper. This one is a 3-season camper. So it's, even in the cold of, like when the springtime is still cold, and then as the weather turns back to cold in the fall, you're good in here. You'll stay warm. Dead of winter, this one isn't warm enough for that. But most campgrounds in northern Ohio aren't open at that time of year anyway, and we don't want to camp in that kind of weather. That's why we're going to Florida. Alrighty, that's enough chit chat. Roy is probably waiting for me to be done with this so that we can go. And I will, when I see you guys next, I'm just going to let you know real quick. Tomorrow I have my appointment with my niece, the hairstylist. She does men and women. She is a beautician and a barber, licensed for both. And she does some really awesome hairstyles. So she's going to do my hair. I said, you just do. She loves the color. She says, Auntie, I really wouldn't do much with the color, because I talked to her, remember, in the spring when I was trying to dye my hair darker and make me not look older than my friends. And people ask me if I was their mother, and they're my age, but they dye their hair. And I don't dye mine. It's gray, it's silver, it's whatever color you want to call it, white, I don't know. But it is 100% no color to the majority of it, and it's a nice looking color in the right light. Like right now you might be looking at it a little bit on a pale, I don't know, depending on, like this lighting, I think might, to me, it has like a pale yellow to it, but it's not, it's white. And a lot of people tell me they love the color of my hair, but I don't want to look like I'm older than people that are my age, old enough to be their mother. I mean, come on. And the difference is that, you know, they have brown hair and I don't. And so white hair ages you. So I wanted to, like, add color to it so it wouldn't look like that. And it was a fiasco. And my niece says, Auntie, don't do that. But then we talked about adding, like, fun colors, like a little pink or purple or something to, but, like, wash out. And she would give me something I could wash it back in. I don't know. So we're going to see what we're going to do. She asked me what kind of cut. I'm like, girlfriend, you are the stylist. You just make me look not like I'm another 60 or 2-year-old person's mother. And I'll be real happy. So you guys, Wednesday night, tomorrow on the Boggy Creek Live, will be the unveiling. I know she's going to do a great job. I just don't know what it's going to look like. I have no idea. And that's kind of exciting. And if she's going to add color, if it's going to be permanent color, if it's going to be browns or blacks or purple or red, I have no idea. So that'll be exciting to see. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, see you tomorrow at my house on the Boggy Creek Live. Bye-bye.